going back to observations as far as from a very global perspective, being here, it's really opened my eyes. I already kind of knew it, but it's one of those things where how important is it to you? Because if it's that important, then you're going to take action. So I'm already sitting here thinking, okay, so where am I going to fit this in my day? Where am I going to start to explore this? How am I going to do this? And so, I think it's been a really great experience.
That is so well articulated, truly.
If you don't mind, I'd love to ask, what do you think the largest barrier to entry is for people before they start their fitness journey?
They don't know where to start.
Okay.
Or they think that they have to start with, let's say somebody with going through weight loss, they feel like they have to start losing weight before they can start taking the action of exercise.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily true.
Absolutely. I'll start jiu-jitsu when I lose weight. Mm-hmm. I heard that. I hear that all the time.
Yeah. So our driver yesterday, our Uber driver, he was telling us that, he had lost 400 pounds,
surgically,
I think.
Yeah, surgically.
And so he was asking about the gym. And so if I were to be interested in signing up for jiu-jitsu, do I have to compete? And Scott jumped in and was like, no, not necessarily. Not at all. You can go and you can learn the practice and there's different levels to it. And so I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. And I was wondering if that's maybe some conflict you're feeling and maybe your daughter's feeling when it comes to entering self-defense. If it's because you...
That's a great question as far as, the barrier.
Yes.
I think for me, it's, there's a place literally a block away from us.
World class.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Kyotera.
Wonderful.
And, we've looked at the schedule and I know for at least my daughter, she splits time between us and then her father. And he's probably 30 minutes away at least in another town. So the classes that are available to children or her age aren't necessarily convenient.
These are real problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. These are real barriers.
Yeah, that's the point.
So, yes.
There is they've opened another location, which is closer to where her father lives. Yeah. And so, but it's also getting the father on board with having
another real problem.
Her, participate.
Absolutely.
As far as for me, honestly, I can't tell you the last time I've looked at a schedule for a women introductory class, for a women's introductory class, because I've looked for her. So what can I do? Yeah, I can easily pull up the schedule and look. I also have a concern as far as, I'm nearing 50. I have a lot of orthopedic injuries. And so I don't want to get hurt. But I also intellectually know because I've been around the community and I've heard people say that there's different levels as far as being able to, I think everybody in that setting, from what I've heard, wants you to be successful. And it's not 100% all the time. And it's drills, just probably like it is here, right? You go, you drill, and then you can add some intensity or some complexity to it. So intellectually, I get it.
Right.
But I think it's okay, so how important is it to you? And let's start making that change or taking those steps to make the change.
That is so true. And I love that you're talking so much about barriers because barriers in lifestyle are really real. That's what I say all the time. Everyone said, why now? I said, well, Cass kind of lined up perfectly. I just graduated from my doctorate program last month. I have
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I've had no time, no money for the last 4 years. It's been a grind. Why are you laughing at me?
Yep.
This lined up perfectly. But those are real barriers. Logically, I know this is, I should get into this, but I've got this and I have this. That's a very real thing. And even right now, I still am studying for boards. I have a lot going on. I'm not saying I'm going to go back and join a gym and be in there 4 or 5 days a week, because that's truly not currently at this moment realistic for my lifestyle. That interest has been piqued. The importance has been seated in my brain. I understand now why this is something to look into, and I can make kind of a realistic plan for my life of realistically how often can I incorporate this. I know that I need to. What does that look like for me? And I think there's a lot of shame sometimes and stigma surrounding that and all sorts of things in the fitness industry. If I'm not in the gym 5 days a week or 6 or 7.
Oh, you suck.
You're the worst. Why are you even here? And that's that's not true. I mean, if the intention is there and the effort is there to better yourself and learn, I think that is so important. So even if you can't go and, become a gun-toting, in the next month, you know what I mean? Like you've made that connection and you can kind of start working on that, how it fits in your lifestyle. And that's okay. The effort is there and intention is there. And that goes a long way.
Yeah, I think to the thing CeCe mentioned, just knowing where to start. It's also trying to, thinking they have to do it all.
Yes.
All at one time.
Yes.
And then if it's the firearms thing, now I need to go out and get a gun, and they start with that.
Right.
Whoa. Pump the brakes.
But
logically, that makes sense.
Right.
Like if I'm going to learn how to shoot, I got to have a gun to shoot, right? But that's not how it should start at all. And okay, so where do I go to learn about guns? Well, it makes sense. I would go to the gun store. I should go to the gun store. They'll teach me about guns. No, that's not where you want to go, right?
No.
Yeah. Likely not. That might not be a good thing. But these are things people don't know. Like they're not informed on these things, and so they need to be introduced to them in a way that makes them understand there's this deeper level of stuff that you can start to be doing, and it doesn't have to be a ton. Like let's just first off, just get introduced to. Why don't you go to your local BJJ schools, because that's sort of been a lot of this conversation, and just watch, sit on the sideline and kind of see. That's part of the shopping experience too. Your window shopping, so to speak. A lot of these gyms actually have, you can walk by those big glass windows. You can stand outside and watch if you're not comfortable going inside.
At my school, they're reflective, but you could still stand there. I actually have a deal with them now. I now live 60 minutes from that school. I recently had a change of location for personal reasons. But anyway, but I had this deal with them, especially because of my work. I travel a lot, where I would pay per class. The membership itself is about $120 a month.
Okay.
So if you can only go 4 times a month, it's not worth it. Well, theoretically. So I went and spoke to the instructor privately, and I was like, look, realistically this month, I'm going to make it in 3 times. I'm ashamed, but it's better than 0. It's what I can do with my schedule.
I need a punch pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they worked out that financial understanding with me, because I belong to a lot of gyms, and I've spread out a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
Our gym has a punch pass for that exact reason.
Yes, I believe they all should. And so if you're someone who's struggling with schedule and you think that 1 class a week it's not even worth it, it's so not true. You learn things. You learn the muscle memory for things like framing. Someone comes up to you, how to push off. You learn how to be in a close space with someone. Lisa and I kept joking. She would be like, oh, I feel like we're hugging. And it's like, yeah, but do you go up and hug an absolute stranger? It's like, no, why? It's uncomfortable. Okay. Well, many other reasons, but it's uncomfortable. That's a great...
Socially unacceptable, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not a hugger.
Right. Totally fair. So if you think about someone attacking you, complete stranger, it's such an uncomfortable thought. So working on that discomfort in a almost simulated controlled environment, at least once a week, maybe even twice a month, it's worth it every single time. I just hope that encourages someone to take that step. And I love watching a class first, going to a gym, looking at things like how large is their women's class? Do they have a kids class? Is it a family environment? Is it somewhere where parents feel safe? And then how do they treat each other during grappling? Are there uncontrolled grappling matches, people striking each other, getting injured? How is the mat moderated? Observing things like that to make sure it's a safe, viable environment to learn in. And then doing what you can from there, I would think are some first steps.